year, there was I don't know if you've seen it. It's about 4 kids that were found after have been missing for 40 days.
No, I haven't.
Okay. So this happened on May 1st of this year. It was like 4 kids, a mom, and the 2 pilots that were flying across the Amazon rainforest. You know where that is in South America?
Oh my gosh!
And the only people that survived was the 4 kids.
That's
like,
dangerous.
The Amazon forest is like has like anacondas, spiders, fucking
it has jaguars.
I don't know how to, but whatever. And as soon as the plane crashed, a whole search team was sent out, bro. Neighboring tribes were helping look for the kids and stuff. Surprisingly, they found a lot of clues. So they found a diaper, they found a baby bottle.
Wait, so they were young kids?
One was 13 years old, 9, one was 4, and one was 1 year old. The dogs helped out find a bunch of clues, bro. They found footprints, diapers, a baby bottle, hair ties, and even with all the clues, they couldn't find them. Apparently, the grandma ended up coming out and saying that the reason why they couldn't find them was because she believes that a duende took them. And
what the
as they were searching for them, yelling out their names, trying to look for them, they probably was still around there, but the fact that they were with the duende, they couldn't hear them.
Bro, it's kind of like have you ever seen the Lord of the Rings?
No.
So in the Lord of the Rings, whenever they put a ring on, they turn invisible, but they're like in this dark realm where they could see what's going on, but nobody can see what's going on in their realm. Like they can't interact with each other. It's like they're invisible, but at the same time they're there.
The grandmother said that they would teach kids at a young age how to survive in forests and jungles and stuff. So the 13-year-old already knew how to survive in the jungle. I find that crazy, the fact that one of them already knew how to survive, but it took the 40 days for them to find them. And I know the fucking Amazon jungle is like huge, but I would have expected them to find them sooner than that. They had a speaker playing through the whole forest of the grandma's voice, pleading with the duende, there, like pleading with whoever has them, saying like, please return the children.
And then they were returned.
Yeah, not long after that, they ended up appearing.
And the footage shows a rural family in Colombia which are being tormented by a shadow figure that resides on the first floor and basement of their home. The mum begins by saying it's 1 in the morning and they're bothering us like always, and I wanted to record this time. She then wakes up her son, who appears to be around 15 years old, and she tells him the same thing, they're bothering us again. She then wakes up the others and asks one of the daughters to watch the baby, and one of them replies, I can hear it too. When they get to the door, she asks them to shh, to hear the sounds coming from the basement. Then she opens the door, and the boy says, I don't want to go downstairs alone. So her and 2 of the sons go down together, and what they see is something terrifying, straight from the depths.
Sí, coja, saquemos la penita. Mami, no se gigante, que sacarla ahora. Johanna, tira sola, ni cualquier cosa grita, por favor. Por favor. Vamos. Mami, padre. Mami, tira, Johanita.
Mami, ¿te oye? ¿Se escucha?
Mami, pero ¿qué van a abrir allá?
Mami,
vamos. ¿Qué me van a dejar acá sola? Cristian, no, llevan a Cristian acá. No, Cristian, no. No, déjeme. Que se quede callado. Soy tranquila. Prenda la luz ahí.
Sí, oye.
Johanna, por favor, cuida con las niñas. Johanna, por favor, por Dios. Dios mío, Señor, guárdame, cúbreme con tu sangre preciosa, Señor. Por favor.
Bueno, abuelita.
Mira, ¿se están escuchando?
Mami, ahora por ti.
Pero quiérame, mira la mano. No sé por eso. ¿Qué te hagas ahí? Tranquila.
¿Qué te hagas? No te vas a salir, por favor.
Ven, pégate la batería, dice. Cristian, quédate atrás. Quédate atrás de nosotros.
Quede calmada.
Déjame ir a la cocina.
Mami, te oyes abajo.
Mami, está abajo. Sí. Cójala. Yo no estoy. ¿Qué pedazo de niña?
La niña, no.
Cristian,
ve a subirse algo, nosotros andamos con mi abuelita ahorita.
Vamos a bajar por el sótano. Agarro con la peñita, se lo veo.
El nombre de Jesús. No, espere, yo no quiero bajar solo.
Bájale todo. Baje, Cristian. Dame la luz.
¿No entra el propio?
Sí, bajo.
Mami, está hacia allá, mire.
¿Qué necesitas? Acelera, acerco la cámara. No, no está por allá.
Vamos.
Qué
peligro eso.
No, por eso voy a acercarla. En el nombre de Jesús. Ya déjenos en paz.
En el nombre de Jesús.
Dios,
vamos a ayudar a Dios.
Cristo, Cordero de Dios. ¿Qué es eso? Pero vámonos ya.
Vamos ya. Mami, vámonos.
Dios mío.
Ya no se me abuelita, ya no se mi tía hoy.
As they go down to the end of the basement, a shadow figure can be seen in the corner, and as they get closer, it begins to rise up to monstrous heights, as if it was directly feeding off their fear up close to truly manifest. And then suddenly, the lights go off, which just makes the whole moment a lot worse.
Jason Anthony works for a security company in Colombia doing surveillance for a condominium, and in one specific night he captured something strange on camera. His buddy was talking to someone that wasn't there. He was able to capture the entire event through a CCTV camera, and this is what happens next. Check this out.
¿Qué hizo? Era ¿usted con quién está hablando ahí? Sí, ¿con quién está hablando ahí luego usted?
Una propietaria de la casa 125.
Marica, la propietaria de la casa 125 falleció hace como unos 20 días, marica.
No, ¿cómo así? ¿Qué me está diciendo?
Sí, no, usted está hablando ahí solo, marica, lo estoy viendo aquí por la cámara, usted está hablando ahí solo.
Me tengo como mierda, loco.
What happened here?
Most popular cryptids in Colombia.
Hola amigos,
Hi friends,
saludos a todos mis seguidores en Estados Unidos,
I wanna say hello to all my followers in the United States,
a todos mis seguidores en Nueva York,
to all my followers in New York,
en Miami,
in Miami,
en Brooklyn,
in Brooklyn,
en Kansas,
in Kansas,
en Washington,
in Washington,
a lo largo y ancho de los Estados Unidos, en Las Vegas.
in the Vegas.
Un saludo para todos mis seguidores alrededor del mundo.
I wanna say hello to all my followers to all the world.
Ustedes pueden hacer un pacto con el diablo,
You can make one pact with the devil
si así lo desean. Si eso
if
es lo
you
que
wanna
quieren.
make it.
Únicamente contáctenme ya.
Only contact to me in this moment.
Háganlo por usted, por sus hijos,
Make for you, for your children,
por su familia, por
for
su
your
madre.
family, for your mother.
No espere un instante más.
Make it in this moment.
Recuerden, mi nombre es Víctor Damián Rosso
My name is Victor Damian
y
Rosso,
les doy las pautas para que hagan un pacto con el diablo.
and I give to you all the instructions to make one pact with the devil.
Atrévete ya y déjate sorprender.
Dare and let yourself be surprising.
Mira, mira, ve, sí, mira, ve. Mira, sí, ve. Cójala, muchachos, cójala. Hay una bruja, ve. Mira, vecino, una bruja, ve. Allá de la ve. Mira, cómo se mueve, ve. Ay, sí, ve,
¡Se perdió! ¡Se perdió! ¡Se perdió! ¡Se perdió! ¡Ay, ven a ver, pues, para acá, ven a ver! ¿Dónde? ¡Escucha el techo, ¡Mira el techo, ¡Mírale el techo, ¡Mírala, ven a ver! ¡Ven a ver!
As if Colombia passing out or being possessed or whatever that wasn't bad enough, the scariest grumbling, almost growling behind us the whole time. I couldn't even focus on him passing out. So after we left this scene and Colombia got up, I got my iPhone out and took a photo of the tunnel to post on my Instagram story for a bit of hype to hype up this episode, right? After I posted the photo, someone replied to me and said, look on the roof of the tunnel. Flip the photo upside down and look what's hanging on the roof of the tunnel. There's dead set a four-legged demon-headed monster, almost like a huge sloth, crawling on the roof. That thing was right behind us, right above us the whole time. And here I was screaming and bridging up at it.
Oi. Like my body was literally shutting down, like, and I felt scared.
What, you think you're gonna possess us? You're nothing, you peasant. You're nothing, you peasant.
Oh, no.
You're nothing, you peasant. I swear to God, you're nothing, you peasant. You're up here for how long, sitting in a tunnel, angry at the world? Go free yourself. Go free yourself.
Like, mate, feel dizzy?
Fool trying to take people over and that. Bro, I got sagey, bro. Bridge up, bro. Come up here, smoke you out. Right? I'll smoke you out. I'll smoke you right out, you motherfucker.
This is a real-life episode of Narcos. A submarine full of illegal drugs was just seized by the Colombian government. The 49-foot sub had 2.6 tons of cocaine on board. That's worth $96 million. Oh, and 2 dead bodies. The narco sub was discovered in the Pacific Ocean, and along with all of that, authorities also found 2 surviving crew members who were in bad shape. They were rushed off the vessel and immediately given life-saving medical treatment. Okay, narco subs, I've never heard of this, but these are an actual real thing. They're designed to be partially submerged in water, and that is in order to avoid radar detection, and they're built in secret in really remote places of the Colombian jungle. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like something a Bond villain would use, and honestly, the alleged group behind this particular one is not far off. These subs are believed to be owned by a Colombian guerrilla communist organization that goes by the acronym FARC. Now, they kind of dismantled in 2017, but before that, they'd been around since the 60s and were known for all manner of dark deeds, among them drug trafficking.
Quick story time on how I may or may not have nearly got trafficked yesterday due to my own stupid decisions. When people ask me for advice on traveling solo, I couldn't even give you any advice because clearly I make very poor decisions, and I'm holding my hands up, guys, and saying that, yeah, so don't come for me because I already know what I did was a mistake, okay? So yesterday I left Rincon del Mar to go to Cartagena, and I used the same taxi driver that took me from the bus station to my hostel to take me from the hostel back to the bus station to get on the bus to Cartagena. So he came and picked me up, and then he drops me at the bus station, which is barely even a station, but yeah. And then this guy comes to the window and he's like speaking to my taxi driver or whatever, and the taxi driver's like, this is my friend, he's driving to Cartagena now, like if you want to go with him. And I was like, okay. Like not really thinking anything of it, thinking he's obviously like a driver because there's all different types of like bus, minivan companies, etc. So anyway, so he's like, it's going to be 40,000 pesos, whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So then he takes my stuff out of the car, and then he takes my backpack and puts it like in the boot of his car, like just a car. And then he opens the front seat for me, and I was like, just me and him? He was like, yeah, he's my friend, like he lives in Cartagena, he's driving there anyway, he'll take you. So obviously, deep inside, I knew that what I was doing was a stupid thing, but I was just like, okay. And I just felt like uncomfortable and on the spot, and like I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to like cause a scene, guys, I just don't know. So anyway, I stupidly got in the car. If I was watching someone on TikTok tell this story right now, I would literally be thinking, like, you absolute stupid person. So I get in the car, and the first thing I do is I send my live location to 3 of my friends. So it's like, if one of my friends is not looking, like, there's going to be a backup, do you know what I mean? And I was like, guys, I'm in a predicament, just keep an eye on my location. So we're in the car now, he's just asking me like where I'm from, where I'm going, do I have a boyfriend or this and that. I was like, yes, I have a boyfriend, he's from Cartagena, like I'm going to meet him now, like he's waiting for me. Because I was just saying all this because I was thinking, right, if you're thinking of trafficking me right now, you need to know that there's people in Cartagena that are going to be looking for me, do you know what I mean? Crying. And then he's just asking me like what my type is, do I like black men, do I like white men? And I'm just thinking, oh, this is just getting more and more annoying. Do you know what I mean? He keeps telling me like how beautiful I am, blah blah blah, and how he wishes like I was his girlfriend and stuff. And then this is when like I can't deal. I'm like, I can't do this 2-hour drive with this guy. That's even if it is a 2-hour drive to my destination. I could be trafficked on the way. Do you know what I mean? So I am on edge, like messaging my friends, being like, are you keeping an eye on the location? Because guys, I obviously don't know what's going to happen. And oh my god, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to do a part 2, but it's up right now.
Man who invited woman on holiday without meeting her in viral tweet charged with her murder.
Security camera video shows John Poulos arriving at an apartment in Bogota on January 19th with a blue suitcase.
He looks concerned.
Footage shows how Poulos and Tres Palacios met on the 20th and are seen entering the apartment. On the 22nd, Poulos leaves the room with the blue suitcase, inside of which contained the body of Tres Palacios.
Take notice of the strength and the force he uses to insert the bag into the trunk.
Her body was later found in a dumpster. The medical examiner in Colombia determined the death to be the result of asphyxia by strangulation. John Poulos lived in Franklin with a wife and 3 kids before filing for divorce in January of last year. Prosecutors say Poulos and Colombian DJ Valentina Tres Palacios met on Instagram 11 months later. Poulos would eventually send Tres Palacios money on a weekly basis. Valentina's friends told police Poulos demonstrated jealous behavior, like monitoring her Instagram and taking more extreme steps.
Mr. Poulos told Valentina that he had hired a private investigator so that he would be keeping tabs, surveying her.
This is one of the worst Colombian cartel execution videos explained. This is Maria Viabla, and she was a 17-year-old girl who went missing, and immediately after this, her parents contacted authorities saying she had gone missing, which prompted a search. The authorities searched the farm she was supposedly supposed to be working at. However, authorities came across a gruesome discovery. They found a man's corpse missing his head, which proved Maria was in great danger. A video then started circulating online showing Maria staring blankly into the camera. She had her hands tied behind her back and was already beaten bad by her captors. However, all hope to finding Maria faded when another terrible video began to circulate on the internet, showing the unfortunate end Maria suffered. The video is short and it's around 33 seconds, but it's absolutely grotesque and disturbing. As you play the video, you're met with pure savagery. The setting is in a wooded area and it's shot during the daytime. Immediately, you see Maria's corpse lying on the ground and you hear her killers talking in the background. The camera then focuses on her exposed stomach and you see a cartel member taking a knife that has a hook shape, cutting a vertical gash down her abdominal area. He slices in a downward motion from the top of her abdominal to the bottom of her stomach area. And you hear awful noises as the blade cuts through flesh. It's extremely graphic and it's just awful. Maria's stomach and intestines are exposed and it appears the killer is trying to cut them out. He pulls on her intestines and what also appears to be her stomach, and slowly they come out of Maria's body as he pulls, and eventually he cuts out Maria's stomach and several feet of intestines. He then holds Maria's guts up to the camera as the other cartel members continue to talk. You then get a clear shot of Maria's body and it looks like the cartel member has completely disemboweled her. The killer then throws her guts on the ground and the video then concludes. How Maria was killed is unknown, but in the video you see lots of blood on her face and head, which means she might have suffered a head injury that killed her. The motive for the murder seems to be completely unknown, but people online suspect she was involved romantically with a suspected gang member. But that is not confirmed at all. Maria's body was found in a river in September 2022 and was returned to her family for a proper burial. The murder of Maria to this day is unsolved, and this case and video is absolutely sickening. Whatever you do, never go looking for this video, and hopefully this explanation was enough to make you less curious.
Back in May of 2000, a Colombian woman was sleeping at home when a group of individuals broke into her house, held her family hostage, and placed what is called a necklace collar bomb on her and demanded money. Whew, that was a mouthful, true crimers, but welcome back. So this is Elvia Cortez, and she lived with her family in Colombia, like I was telling you. Now, there is a group in Colombia known as FARC, which is a rebel band. Now, it is believed that they may have been responsible for breaking into Elvia's home and placing this necklace bomb around her neck. Now, they demanded that she pay up $7,500 US, or they would detonate this bomb. Now, Elvia and her family immediately contacted the police, and the police brought her to a secluded area where technicians tried to remove this bomb very diligently. However, as time went on, the technicians got deeper and deeper into the bomb, and it is believed that it was detonated due to the fact that it was tampered with. Now, upon detonation, Elvia Cortez was partially decapitated. That is so harsh. And she died almost instantly, with her family standing by watching. I was like, oh. And one of the technicians who was working on her had his arm blown off. He was taken to a nearby hospital, and he too eventually passed away. A few other officers who were nearby also suffered from injuries. Elvia was the mother of 4 children, which left her children completely devastated. Her case was eventually turned into a movie called PVC1, which I watched on Tubi if you are interested. This whole case, though, completely creeped me out. I've covered some scary shit in my time, but this has got to be one of the scariest.
In Colombia, the legend of El Sombrerón is a little different. He was a regular man who wore black all the time and did no harm to anyone until he died. His spirit became a terror to those who wander the night, like drunkards, cheaters, fighters, things like that. El Sombrerón is said to chase his victims in lonely areas lit by the moon, and he is accompanied by 2 large dogs.
Let's talk about some Colombian mythology today, specifically about La Bola Fuego. I'm going to try really hard to pronounce this monster's name correctly in this video, but if I do mispronounce it the entire time, please just correct me in the comments. I am always trying to become better. Also, if you want to support the channel in other ways, link to this is in my bio. So what is the La Bola Fuego? Well, it's a very simple myth, and one that you can probably guess just by looking at this photo. But even though it's a very simple myth, there are a ton of different versions. The version that I'm most familiar with, and that I found that other people are most familiar with, though I may be wrong on this, is that a woman in a fit of rage chopped off her son's head. And then when the woman died, whether it was of natural causes or she took her own life, she was cursed to wander the earth for all of eternity as a burning ghost. Now, like I said, there are a ton of different versions to this myth. That's just the one that I've always known, but while doing research for this video and refreshing my memory on it, I did find another version that I actually like a whole lot more. This other version says that La Bola Fuego is the spirit of the mother and the son who unfortunately perished in a house fire, which makes a whole lot more sense as to why she's on fire. The other story's version makes sense as well, that she's cursed to wander the earth for all of eternity. I just like the explanation in the second story just a little bit more. Neither way is right or wrong, there's multiple ways to tell this story. You just pick which one you like more, and that's the version you tell. But that's all I have for today, so until next time, class is dismissed.
This is the only known video of the creature that has been terrorizing the village of Palamo, Colombia. The people there believe it is a witch because it seems to have a human form. They say it is female and about 9 feet tall, but very skinny like a skeleton. They say she only appears when it's foggy, and that she comes and leaves objects and little dolls in a tree and then disappears into the air. They say that she leaves an odor behind her of rotting fruit, and the objects that she leaves in the tree appear to be ritualistic objects of brujeria, Most of them are little dolls that have no face, just like this witch. People who have seen her also say that she has no face. People here remove the little dolls from the tree and burn them, but the next day they reappear on the branches. There are places that have such an intense, dark residual energy, even after abandoned, that they must be completely destroyed. This was the case with the former mansion and compound of Pablo Escobar in Medellin, Colombia. Pablo was one of the most notorious narcotraficantes in all of history. And even after his death, these physical structures continue to cause disgust and rage in the people that live here because of the countless crimes committed in this place. So in 2019, Colombia decided these buildings must be destroyed. The demolition itself was a highly orchestrated and controlled affair. Cameras were placed and drones circled above to capture the implosion from every single angle. After reviewing the footage that was captured that day, it was discovered that many of the cameras positioned had captured the same paranormal event on film. Several humanoid, ghostly figures are seen in different spots of the Monaco building. These spirits almost seem to be frantically pacing on one of the building's top levels. And one of them is seen quickly flying upwards into the sky in the exact moment that the building collapses. Many people have claimed that this is in fact the spirit of Pablo Escobar himself.
A lot of our legends here in Colombia are colonized. Surprised? I'm not. Many of our oral stories, many of our legends come from indigenous communities like the one I'm about to talk about. Everybody meet El Mohan. El Mohan is a popular folk story. I'm sure you've probably heard it if you're Colombian, but it comes from Tolima, which is where our indigenous Pijaos live. And there's other versions in the region of Magdalena. Like I said, there's a lot of versions of El Mohan, but he's pretty much seen in a monstrous way. Some say he's very nice and sociable, and he likes to drink and smoke tobacco, and he helps fishermen fish. And some other people say he's just pure evil and likes to kidnap women. But back in the day, Los Pijaos had these spiritual and community leaders called Mohanes. They're the ones that held up the socioeconomic status of the community. They were medicine men, healers. They did a lot for the community is what I'm trying to say. But of course, when the Spanish came, they saw how much influence and how much power these Mohanes had, and they didn't like it. So they tried to baptize and persecute Mohanes. And many of the Mohanes actually hid underwater, which is how they became the spirit of water, the masculine strength of water, and the owner of fish. And those Pijaos still do many ceremonies throughout the year to honor this great water spirit. A Pijao woman from the Natagaima reservation said, "He is not bad if they treat him well. He is not visible to everyone. You have to leave him chicha, brandy, or tobacco because he goes out to warm up at noon or sunset. With this, he behaves well and lets you fish. But if he attacks, it's because there are those who cause damage to the rivers." So yeah, El Mohan isn't harmful. He's not a bad person. He's just a protector of the rivers.
She appears in dense jungles in Colombia. This is the legend of La Patasola, aka the one-legged woman. La Patasola appears in the form of a beautiful woman. It is said that she lures men into the night. Once you follow her, that's when she reveals her true form. She is a vampire craving for flesh. If I was a kid in Colombia, I would be like so scared to go outside. I search online and there's one video of a supposed sighting. This is the dark version of the Twilight movie. What do you think? Do you believe in La Patasola, or could this just be a story that people tell in the dark?
So this is the story of El Silbón. And according to this article, El Silbón is a legendary figure in Colombia and Venezuela, associated especially with Los Llanos region, usually described as a lost soul. The legend arose in the middle of the 19th century. That's just a simple version of the legend. Yet, another more disturbing version states that this son, El Silbón, was a spoiled brat whose parents catered to every wish. One afternoon, he demands his father hunt for a deer, his favorite meat. But when the father does not find a deer and returns empty-handed, his son kills him, cuts out his heart and liver, and then has his mother cook him for dinner. The mother, finding this meat is tough, starts to suspect something is amiss. She discovers these organs are her own husband's innards and curses her son for eternity. Afterwards, his grandfather ordered the youth to be tied to a post in the middle of the countryside and lashed him until his back was destroyed. I'm assuming he just literally just kept hitting him until his back was a big old gash. His wounds were then cleaned with alcohol, chili peppers, and lemon juice. A sack full of his father's remains was placed on his wounded back, and he was released with his grandfather's 2 rabid-starving dogs set upon him. Before releasing him, his grandfather condemned him to carry the bones of his father for all eternity. So El Silbón has a characteristic whistle that resembles the musical notes, which instead of reading through all that, I'm just going to post the sound right now. It is said that when the whistling sounds close, there is no danger, and the whistler is far away, or El Silbón. But when the whistling sounds distant, it means it's nearby. So it's kind of like a Wendigo. Because I believe it's the same thing, like if they sound far, they're close, but if they sound close, that means they're far. It's kind of backwards. But it is also said that hearing the whistle foretells one's own death, and one may hear it anywhere at any time. In this situation, the only thing that can save the victim is the sound of a dog barking, as it is the only thing it is afraid of, which makes sense because he had 2 rabid dogs set upon him when he died, or whatever happened to him. A chili or a whip. The spirit tends to take revenge on womanizers. Many inhabitants of Los Llanos say that they have seen it, primarily in the summer, a time when the Venezuelan savanna burns in the harsh drought. The whistler sits in the trees and gathers dust in his hands, but it is mainly on rainy or humid days that the spirit wanders, hungry for death and eager to punish drunkards, womanizers, or sometimes innocent victims. It is said that it sucks the alcohol out of the drunkards through their navel when it finds them alone, and that it tears womanizers to pieces, removes their bones, and puts them in the sack where it keeps the remains of his father. Some versions say it appears as a giant about 6 meters that moves about the treetops, creaking and emitting its chilling whistle. Inside its old and tattered sack lie the bones of his father, or according to some renditions, its multiple victims. Other versions say he appears as the shadow of a tall, thin man with a hat and goes after drunkards most of all. They say El Silbón can appear by a house on certain nights, drop his sack on the ground, and count the bones one by one. If one hears it, nothing will happen. But if someone doesn't hear it before dawn, one person in your home will die.
If you ever find yourself walking alone in the Andean forests of Colombia and hear a deafening and terrifying laughter and the ground starts to shake, you might want to run because La Muelona might get you. La Muelona, or also known as La Colmillona, is a beautiful, attractive woman with long hair, glowy eyes. The only problem is that she has very sharp, long fangs. Since her fangs are so long and sharp, it makes it look like she's continuously laughing and smiling. And she has a preferred time where she likes to go out and snatch her next victim, usually between 6 in the afternoon to 9 at night. People will come across her on the edge of a path or see her sitting on the edge of a tree, and she'll appear in the form of a very attractive and seductive woman. Once people get too close to her, she crushes them fiercely with her sharp teeth, drags them into the forest, and starts feasting on their blood. They say La Muelona wanders through rivers, mountains, and valleys, and you can see her dancing with skeletons of the dead. And she'll always be accompanied by different types of animals: boars, goats, hens, rabbits, snakes, frogs, etc., etc. Her singing and laughter bewitches men onto her bed that is full of mice, scorpions, snakes, toads. And after they're done making love, that's when she will satiate her cannibalistic appetite. She's also a very well-known potion maker. So here it says that she likes mixing all kinds of potions that include blood, graveyard dirt, scraped bone, bat heart, crocodile tears, to attract other people into her nest. The folktale of La Muelona goes all the way back to Spanish colonial times here in Colombia. Her name was La Maga, and she was a well-known fortune teller that even consulted the highest representatives of the King of Spain. And when her business started to expand, she bought a house to do her consultations in. They say that she was a scammer as well, but she was scamming rich people, so judge her if you want, but I'm not going to. Eventually, La Maga died in her house, and one of her regulars, a woman, decided to break into the house and try to rob anything that was of value. But the house started to fill up with this nauseating and horrible smell, and La Muelona appeared to the woman. And she said, "I have to take revenge on pernicious men, of light and shameless women. They will be in hell with me, and I will be known as La Muelona." But there's always two sides to each story, right? So a lot of campesinos in rural areas here say that La Colmillona is a quiet woman with long hair, hairy hands, who likes to eat grilled plátanos. So she'll quietly get close to the fire and steal grilled plátanos to eat.